everybody knows, like we're going live on YouTube. So if you're not comfortable, you can switch off your video.
Yeah. So, yeah, for those who have uploaded your painting, you don't need to upload it on WhatsApp. You need to send it on Classroom, and I'll send you a video of how you would upload it on Classroom, just in case you're not able to as of now. Okay, so I'll send you a video of how to do that. Okay. Okay, so we will be again making the same colors from yesterday that we have made. We'll be starting with the same colors. And let's take out the first color. So the first color that we need to take out is turquoise, just like yesterday. So all the same colors that we took off in our palette, we'll take those same colors. So turquoise is the first color. White is the second one that we had yesterday. Third color that we had was viridian green. So anyone who does not have a viridian can take out sap green. The fourth color that we had was yellow. So we'll still take out the yellow. And we also had little black yesterday. So I have little black already, so I'm not taking it out. You can take out black as well. So these are the colors that we need, and we'll still prepare the same blue that we've prepared yesterday. So again, just take your brush and start preparing the same blue that you prepared. How we prepared it yesterday was we took turquoise on one side. So we've taken turquoise on one side. Then we've mixed some green into it. So turquoise and green. And we mixed little bit of white. In fact, more white, not little bit of white. The white's quantity was more. And then we mixed little bit of black.
Vipra, what's the alternate for turquoise?
So for turquoise, you can go for an aqua green. You can go for a teal. You can go for either a cerulean blue. In cerulean blue, you can mix little yellow and little white and use that one too. Okay, so just like yesterday, the same alternatives you can use. Turquoise, if you don't have aqua green or teal, or you can mix your cerulean blue plus white plus little yellow, and the color that you achieve can also be used for this one. So I'm slowly increasing the quantity of black, as you can see. So take black very cautiously. We don't need to take too much of black, as you all know. So that's my color ready. Okay, now what we need to do is we'll be starting with the base here in the water here first. For the water, what happens is always in the water, the reflection of the sky is there, right? So whatever you see, whatever colors you see in the sky or any object or anything that is above the water shows on the reflection on the water as well. So whatever colors are here kind of goes here. So that's why we've taken out the similar colors as the sky. So we'll be starting now, and we'll also make one more color. Remember how we made this color yesterday? So we mixed a viridian green and we mixed little black into it. We made a dark green, like a hooker's green. So we'll make the same color as well, because we have to show the reflection of this tunnel down here in the water. So even for that, we'll be preparing our color. So the first color we have prepared. The second color that we are preparing is a combination of this green. So take it aside and mix little black into it to make it darker. And that is what we'll be using for the reflection down here, okay, in this part. So that's our water reflection, for which we'll be using this color. We'll still need some black on the palette. So you can still keep some black separately on the palette, just in case if we need it, okay? So I'll also take out some black now. Okay, so we are ready here with the color, and it's very easy for the water. For water, you can just take a simple small flat brush, again the one that you were using in the sky, and you have to give horizontal strokes. So you'll be giving horizontal strokes here for the water, and I'll keep telling you the colors that you need to use for it. Okay. So if you see the bridge is light, so the bridge will have a lighter reflection. So the more amount of white should be used in that part. Similarly, if there is any dark color, you need to just use the same dark color for the reflections part. Okay. So let's start here. We'll start with the same blue that we've prepared, and we'll go on this part on the extreme left of the canvas, and we'll be giving horizontal strokes. So right here, start giving horizontal strokes. But if you see, the upper part has little bit of green in it, right? Yesterday we've put green in that. So we'll also add little bit of green on top of this so that the same kind of effect comes in this part. And in order for it to stand out from the top area, so of course it should kind of differentiate, right? It should not mix. The line of horizon should be there. So we'll add a slight lighter effect with white. So with the same brush, you pick up some white. So we've given blue base, we've added some green on it, and then we'll add a bit of white just to kind of differentiate that from the top area. Okay, so you don't need to mix that white completely. That white can show up slightly so that it kind of separates your water area from the top. Okay, so this way, then you go ahead on this part. You can clean your brush on a tissue. You don't need to wash it. Clean it on a tissue or a cloth and pick up some white now. And just below the layer of below this bridge, where the bridge is visible, you will start to add little white shadows, like white reflection. If little bit of this color mixes up, that will be good. So you're going on that one and you're adding a white reflection over here. Right? Now you've added white and then you move over to the darker color of the green that you have prepared. So you need to wash your brush. So wash your brush, dab it on a tissue, pick up that dark green that you have prepared. So mine is kind of less. I'll prepare a little more. Yeah, so you'll take this dark green and you'll go just below this one to add a darker reflection. And you have to add it exactly below this part here. And you don't have to add it like a this one, a rectangle. Okay, you have to add it like a, as if it's a reflection of a semicircle. So it has to be this way. See, it is not like a rectangle or anything. It is just like a semicircle reflecting roughly on this part. So just make sure that you do that. And then again, clean your brush on a tissue and take little bit of this blue and add some streaks of that blue on it so that it doesn't look very plain. It doesn't need to look plain. So that's why we'll have some blue streaks on it. Okay. So we did white here. So you'll have to mix that white slightly into this, otherwise it will look separate. So clean your brush on a cloth and just add a mixing effect here. So you have to clean your brush before you do this. Slightly move the white like this so that it gives a bit of that reflection. And then opposite side also you're doing the same. So opposite side as well, you have the bridge which is there, should show the reflection. So on the opposite side as well, we are giving a white effect, which will slightly mix into this green. So again, once you place the white, you have to clean your brush to get that mixing effect, just like you did it on the left side. So again, clean your brush on a cloth or a tissue, and then again, just add slight mixing effect. If just in case the white moves slightly ahead, you don't need to worry. All you need to do is take little more of that green and just do it over that. Okay, so like this. And after you're done with this, you can wash your brush quickly. So wash your brush and clean it on a cloth or a tissue again. pick up some yellow. And see, we've done yellow over here, right? So the reflection will also have some yellow. So we'll add some yellow from this side. And with the yellow, we'll use a combination of white. Just horizontal lines. Make sure that your lines are straight and parallel to the base of your canvas. That's really important. Otherwise, the effect of water will not come. So take white, take yellow. And in this area, you're still going to add the blue. So this same blue that we've prepared, you're going to add it over the yellow and kind of mix it up. Be careful with the boat. Try as much as you can for the color to not go on the boat. And don't hesitate to go on your yellow color with this blue. Slightly, you will go up on that yellow color to fill up this, like a slight reflection effect here. This way. So it will form like a shaded effect for you in this part. And over this, we will also start adding the white slightly. So once you're done with the blue, you can also add slight amount of white here. White always kind of adds a subtle look, plus white will also show the ripples of the water, right? So the ripples should show up, otherwise it will look just like you've tried to just do a plain color there. So little bit of that white effect to show the ripples of water. Now continue this blue in this part too and keep adding white. Just how we did it in the sky yesterday, we kept doing the blue and then we kept adding the white into it. That's what you need to do right now on this part. Don't go downwards, just work on the upper area as of now. So just on the upper area, and we'll join it to this part here. So on the top, we'll kind of join it with the white. So use more white towards the top part here. So currently, Nilima ji, no offline classes in Mumbai as of now. We might have few of the traditional offline classes later on, once things settle down a little bit more. But we don't have it for the contemporary at the moment. Reason being, I'm not in India at the moment. So, but I'm hoping that we will be able to conduct few offline classes for contemporary as well very soon. So keep going. See, I'm just adding turquoise and I'm just adding the color that we've prepared. It's not exactly turquoise, so I'm calling it blue, and then I'm adding some white as we move ahead. Okay, so keep adding the white as highlight and move down, and we will add more of yellow as we move downward. So we want to keep it nice and bright in this part. So after you've reached almost half of the area doing the this blue and the white, you can wash your brush and then go down and just use a combination of yellow and white. Okay, so we'll be using a combination of yellow and white as we move down on this part. So wash your brush after you're done with half of this and then move down using the yellow, and we'll use more white. So take yellow. You can easily mix this up. So don't worry. See, you'll just take yellow. You can go slightly upwards into that blue color so that it kind of blends in that part. You don't have to keep it separate from each other. So you have to blend this way. You have to go up slightly with a very slight pressure. आपको pressure बहुत सारा apply नहीं करना है brush पे. You just have to go with a very light pressure and as if you're trying to just blend it slightly so that it doesn't look like two separate layers of color. Okay, that will give a subtle mixing effect. And then keep adding white as you go ahead. The area which is near the just below the boat, you can keep it slightly more white because we'll have to add the reflection of the boat as well. So here I'll add more white, just a very subtle yellowish effect is there, but it is mostly white just below this boat. Okay. And then keep going with your yellow and white, add a subtle effect to the yellow. And if you see, my brush still has little bit of that blue because I've not washed the brush very nicely. It will keep giving me that blue tinge. Anyways, we are going to add some blue from the top. So it is okay if your brush is not completely clean over here. It will give a very natural effect anyways. So go on adding the white and the yellow again. You can add thicker white so that it shows like ripples of water again, and it shows that it is water, not just plain yellow color there, okay? So go on filling. And again, below this boat, there is a dark reflection, so we'll just give a yellow here. There's a light reflection, so that's why I've given white. Here, I'll just leave it with the yellow and maybe add some highlights of white in this part. And once you're done with this part, you can also add a bit of blue. So bit of blue, take very little on your brush and like maybe add few streaks of it here and there. Just few streaks here and there. And let it blend slightly. We'll not make this area very dark. So once you place the blue, see, आपने light color पे you have placed the blue, right? Your color is very light. You're placing the blue on it, and you don't want the blue to over mix in this part. So that's why once you place the blue, you clean your brush on a tissue, ताकि extra color निकल जाए. You just need to take off that extra color, and then you kind of try to spread. So see, I've cleaned it on a tissue, and when I'm trying to kind of create a mixing here, it's not over blending in that part. So it stays where it is and it mixes up and it gives a subtle effect. अगर आप वो clean नहीं करोगे तो फिर वो over mix हो जाएगा. The color will over mix if you don't clean your brush, and that's when it will completely turn blue. So cleaning is very important there. Okay, so that's why it will, once you clean, it will give a subtle effect. That's the key to it. Otherwise it will over mix. So the water part is done, and we will wait for it to settle down. Nidhi will wait for a minute or so. And you can just probably take over and if something you want to showcase. Okay?
Yeah, sure. I think till now it is looking very beautiful, and as everyone is completing as per Vikra's like advice, I would like to showcase. First of all, I would like to tell you, like as Vikra was telling, we are basically into more into taking the workshops of the from the native artists, and they are more traditional art forms which we take. So we do various art forms like Varli, Madhubani, Pichwai, Pattachitra, Kerala Mural, Kalikhat. So we conduct workshops for all these categories on a daily basis. So currently, if like there are many people who want to do multiple art forms and want to learn, or maybe if they already know, they want to just like try their hands on it. So we are currently running an offer, which is a 100-hour subscription offer. So I will just take you through a short video to make you understand it in a better way. So just tell me if you are able to hear it. 1 second. Vipra, is it audible?
No, Nidhi, it's not audible.
Okay, so
And the audio along with this screen sharing.
yes, I did. 1 second, I'll check.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's try it again. Let me try it. So that was, I will just explain it. As I was telling you, there are multiple art forms which we do on a daily basis. So now this 100-hour subscription gives a opportunity for the participants to select, one second. So it gives an opportunity for all the participants to select 100 hours of workshops from these 7 art forms, which is Madhubani, Vari, Pichwai, Patachitra, Kerala, Mural, Contemporary, and Kalikai. So you can select workshops of your choice as per your availability, as per your time zone, and accordingly, and you'll have to redeem these 100 hours within 3 months of your registration. So if you want to know about that in detail, you can directly ping me, you can directly contact me. So that was about the 100 hours. Meanwhile, I'll just show you again because I was getting many queries yesterday. Contemporary workshop. So as I was telling you, this is the first one which is lined up in the category. So Dance in the Sky, if you can just see, this is a knife and brush painting with 2 birds flying in the sky. So we'll be starting this from Monday, and it's 1 week workshop. Individual price is 900, but as I was telling you, only for 2 days. All the upcoming workshops are on 20% off. You can register for as many as you want, but only for 2 days this discount will be applicable. So this is the first one, and then this is after this, which is right direction micron pairs. So it is only with micron pairs. After this, we have scheduled few beautiful workshops. The first is the first college. If you can see, this is a beautiful scenery, which is starting from 27th June to 1st July. Then we have this 2 boards at Blue House. This is again starting from 4th July to 15th July. Then this is Joy of Spring. After this, we have this English Summer Cottage in watercolors. So it's a different medium which Vipra will be teaching everyone. Then this is Evening at Dream Lake. After this, we have this Holy Trinity by Sonali Mohanty. Then we have this Touch of Greece. We have done few paintings in past, also a similar kind of view. So it comes out really very beautiful with Vipra's guidance. In fact, the participants also made it very beautifully. Then we have this dot painting on MDF box. Then we have this Emerge by Avantika. And then we have this 3D mandala. So all these workshops, the prices are mentioned below the images. So you can refer to them, and you can the discount of 20% will be applicable on individual workshops on this. And as I was telling you, today is the last day. If you register by day and today, you can avail that 20% off. We also have quarterly and yearly offers in which there is a package of 12 weeks if you want to really learn. If you want to learn contemporary, then you can take a 12-week package, and multiple themes will be covered under that. So like that. So I will once again take you through this. Meanwhile, I think the color must have dried up, and I will give it over to Mitra.
Thanks, Nidhi. So let's move ahead on this. So meanwhile, Nidhi was telling about the workshop. This has dried up. Beautiful workshops coming up. Do join. So we'll be moving ahead. This is settling down here. Meanwhile, we will work on these small boats to at least give the initial effect that we need to. For that, you'll need to take out few colors. So for the first boat, we'll need a light blue and a dark blue. So for the dark blue, we can use a Prussian blue. For the light blue, if you don't have any other blue, like if you have just Prussian blue, just add white into it to prepare your light blue. So any blue that you have, you can prepare the lighter blue by adding white into it. And this one is a Prussian blue. This one is a permanent blue light that you get in the shade of camel. It's a permanent blue light. Sometimes it also comes by the name of brilliant blue, or you can simply take cerulean blue and mix white into it. So that will also give you a similar shade. So any blue, and if you don't have any of the blues that I have mentioned, whatever blue you have, just mix white into it to prepare this light blue. And the second blue is the darker blue, which is Prussian blue. If you don't have Prussian blue, you can use ultramarine blue or any dark shade that you have. And if you don't have the dark shade in your set, just mix little black into your blue that you have. Okay, so that's what you need to do for this. And we'll take this light blue first. Mix water into your color, little bit of water, and take a round brush. Take a small round brush. I have taken a number 3. You can even take a smaller one if you're not comfortable with a bigger brush. Okay. So let's go ahead and we'll be adding the light blue on the outer part here. You will need to mix water, otherwise your brush will not move smoothly. Okay. So fill it completely in the border, not the inner part, but just the border part of this. We are filling the light blue. So fill this and go on this one too and fill it. And as soon as you fill it, you need to add a little darker effect for the boat to stand out. So right now, if you see, it's not standing out as such from the background. So you have to add a darker effect so that it stands out. So with the same brush, you pick up a little bit of this dark blue, that is the Prussian blue, and add a little bit of it as a shaded effect. So you add like a streak of it here and there first. Again, just a streak here and there like this. And then clean your brush on a tissue or a cloth. So take off all the excess color from your brush once you have placed those streaks. And then with that dry brush, since you've cleaned it, it will become little dry. You're just going to try to spread this. And it will spread very nicely because your light blue is also wet at the moment. Okay. So you see, it got spread and it is now giving a slight differentiation from the background for you. If you think anywhere it's kind of mixing up with the background, you can still add a bit of streak of dark blue there. So it's totally up to the effect that you are getting. Also do add little bit of white highlight. So you need not wash your brush, just pick up some white on the same brush and add a streak of white just here and there. Again, clean your brush and try to slightly blend the white. You don't need to completely let the white disappear. Very slightly, you will soften it basically. It should not look very bright there, okay? So you've added that. And now this is the initial part that we have done. And we'll also add very little streak of black as well on this area because it will be slightly darker in this part, right? Because of the shadows that are shadow of the tree and stuff like that falling on this area. So little black here and there. So in the towards the front part, you have to take very little black. Remember, the black creates a very dark effect in the least quantity that you will be taking. So try taking the least possible quantities and you can slowly increase. But if you increase it all at once, you might not be able to decrease it later, right? It's just like adding salt to your food. You can take less and increase it later on slowly. But if you have added more, it becomes difficult to balance, right? It's the same thing. So again, on the lower part, we will be adding light blue. So again, go to the lower part, add light blue. With the light blue, add some white. So we'll create slightly lighter and brighter effect on this area. So little bit of white I am mixing along with the blue. So initially we'll just create a slightly lighter effect as compared to that side. Again, clean your brush, pick up some dark blue, so Prussian blue. We'll add a bit of highlight on this side, but we'll leave slight amount of space on the top. So if you see, I've left slight space on the top, little spaces there towards the top for a highlight so that it doesn't mix up with this part. And then I add little bit of dark blue from the lower part. Once I add, again, I clean my brush on a cloth and then I try to blend it. Otherwise, it will over blend. And once you've added the dark blue, take little black again, take very less black on your brush, add it on the extreme end of this. Again, clean your brush and then try to spread it slightly and blend it. That creates a darker effect towards the back side. And similarly, you are going to do towards the front. So you'll take Prussian blue first, add it from the top part right here. If it is mixing up for you, you need not clean, but if you think it's over mixing, you clean your brush. So for me, it is very dry at the moment. So it's creating a very subtle effect for me. I'm not cleaning the brush, but you have to clean it if you think it's over blending. Okay. Again, a little black effect from the front as well. Okay. And inner part that you see, which we have left empty at the moment, we are simply just going to fill a black in it. So you will just take your black, add little water if needed. And from here, you can just simply fill it. Okay. So we'll fill black, and then later on, any highlights that are needed on the boat, we will add it later as a part of the finishing touch. So just fill black in this as of now. Just lift it up. Make sure that towards the end, it is like slightly tapering, and then it joins the other side. So that becomes your first boat. And you can wash your brush. Now see, because we are using a smaller canvas, we definitely have less space in between the boats, right? If we would have had a bigger canvas, we would have had a little more space. We don't want to completely join the reflection of this boat to this boat. So we will create a smaller reflection. Again, according to the rule, because it is just where it is just above the water, at that part it will be more depth. So we'll be using more of the dark blue. So we'll take Prussian blue for the reflection. We'll go below the boat and we'll add the reflection in the same direction of the boat, how it is there. So just below, we'll add a little reflection and we'll go slightly ahead and create a shape like this. So see how the shape is? It's like little tapering at the end and then like a little oval kind of shape here in this part, like this. Okay, and since it is water, it cannot have like a hard reflection or a hard shadow like this. So it will still have like little ripple effect in that part. So you will wash your brush after you have placed this shadow and then pick up your light blue. So take your light blue, and with your light blue, you're going to create some lines like this, because of course the lighter reflection will also come, right? So you'll create some lines just below the boat this way. And just above that, you can add little white highlights to show again the ripple part. Slight white highlight, very, very slight highlight. You don't need to cover up the entire blue. Okay. Because it's less space, we are doing this, and we're not trying to join the shadow of this to this. Okay, so slightly you'll keep it away. That's your first boat. And you can even add some white highlights on the boat. So you will just go on the boat here and with a dry brush. So if you see, I'm using the detailing brush here and it's completely dry. I've not taken water, just taken little white on it. Very little white you will take on the tip and just kind of add a little white highlight to the boat there. Similarly, on the upper part as well, we'll do the same. Slight highlight, very dry color. No water on my brush and just add a highlight. Okay. So that's your first boat. We'll move on to the second one. For the second boat, you'll need a red color. So for the red color, you can use either crimson red or cadmium red, whichever you have, scarlet lake, whichever red you have in your set. The brightest red that you can see in your set is the color that you will use. And apart from that, you will be using yellow in this one. Okay, so yellow is needed, and we still need the black and everything that we have. So your basic color on this one is red. So pick up red. Take a thin brush, pick up red. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So I've taken a crimson. And we'll again do the same thing that we did for our first boat, just the color is changing, right? So same thing, we did a light blue on the top, we'll do a red here. So take your red and start filling it in the same place where you filled the light blue in the previous boat. So till now, if you see, we've not used any color similar in family with the red. So now when you're adding the red, it's kind of adding a beautiful look. So you can imagine now when we'll add the tree, the leaves of the tree, it's gonna kind of pop out from these subtle colors that are there in the background, right? So completely fill this up in red first, just how you did the blue. It's a very small part, so it won't dry up that fast. And that's why I've covered it fully first. Wash your brush after you've filled up your boat and take your yellow. So take yellow after that. You don't need to mix a lot of water with your yellow. So try to take dry color, like just the color and just a little damp brush, wet brush, okay? And with that, you'll try to add some highlights on it. And when you add the highlights of yellow, it will mix up a little bit with the red, forming a little bit of orange effect there, okay? Which is totally fine. Somewhere at some place, if the yellow is showing up quite a bit, you can just leave it like that because it will look like a highlight, okay? So slight yellow. And then again, same rule applies. If it is over mixing, you need to clean your brush on a tissue and then try to mix it and it will come out fine. If it is extreme orange anywhere and the red is kind of disappearing, you can add some red from the top as well. Okay. The back side of this boat has a darker effect and we'll add the darker effect towards the front as well. So we'll pick up black again for this. From the front, add little black. So add black, and then once you've added, you know what to do. Clean your brush after adding the black on a tissue and then just shift that black forward for a little blended effect.
Already looking so beautiful with the
Thank
awesome
you.
translation and explanation, I must say. And I'm sure everybody must be agreeing to it. You can put it in the chat box as well if you're liking it.
Yeah,
Just to also to
absolutely.
tell, like this workshop, like for which we conduct on like these free workshops, we are not able to open the group because of the larger number of audience. But the workshops which we conduct on a regular basis, the participant number is less. So though they are more interactive workshops in which you get to speak with the artists, you can take your feedbacks, you can show your daily progress work, you can interact with them directly. So I really request and suggest if you guys can do at least one such workshop and experience the way our workshops are conducted. So it will really motivate the artist as well, and you will also get a feel of the exact how the classes are conducted with Catterfly.
Today people are very quiet, Nidhi, very engrossed in the painting, it seems. No one
Yeah,
is
yeah.
putting anything
Uh,
in the chat box.
True. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
we'll get to see that work once we will see. Actually, I was about to say, yeah, yesterday we could see so many finished work. But like
Yeah,
otherwise, we are not getting so many people doing along. But in this particular workshop, we could see many people were doing along with this. So we could see so
absolutely.
many finished work. So I'm sure people must be liking and must be enjoying it too.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
hope to see beautiful work by the end of the session.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see that too. So in this one, the only thing that difference that we've created, you see, is the yellow kind of that division in the boat where people can sit, that place that we've added that. And slightly we'll add a little bit of red because it does look too bright. So just little red you can add on it. It's a very small space to work on. So it's okay if it is not a very finished effect in this part. That's totally fine because it's a very small one. So it can be slightly rough, and then you just go down on this part. Now see, the shadow of the red won't be as much as the blue. The blue is giving shadow, like the exact reflection of it. For this one, we'll add a little bit of Prussian blue down for the darker effect. So we'll take Prussian blue, and if your Prussian blue is lighter, it's not very dark as the shadow effect, we'll just add little black into the Prussian blue to make it slightly more darker. Okay, so take your Prussian blue, add little black into it, and we'll use that color to kind of create a shadow effect just below this. So see the shadow first, you'll just go below as if you're making the outline of it, and then just go outward slightly like this and add again the I would say the lines that I'm adding, they are parallel to the base in this part. Okay, so they're parallel to the base, so don't make it like slanting or anything. They are parallel to the base, these rough lines that are coming, that will add the right effect to your reflection on the boat. And just to balance the red, because there is of course red on the boat, so little bit of that will definitely go down. So just for that, we'll add little red in the outward direction for a slight shadow effect of the red which is there on the boat. Okay, so little bit of red can be added there. Okay, so boat is kind of ready. We will just add a little bit of black towards the corner of this boat. I'm glad you're enjoying, Amrita ji and Avin. Is that Avinash? Yeah, Avinash ji. Lovely. So that's good news that you're enjoying. I'm enjoying it as well with you. Slight black highlight towards the left side of this. Okay, just right here. Here. Okay. Now let's move ahead on the tree part. For the tree part, as you know, you've already done black in it, so we'll need few colors here to kind of balance that part. So you'll still need the black on your palette for this, but you will also need to take out some brown. So your burnt sienna, you can take out burnt sienna here. So on the palette, burnt sienna. Yeah, we'll wait here, and meanwhile we'll keep our colors ready. So for anyone who does not have a burnt sienna, you can simply mix red and add little black into it. So mix red and black and create your brown. um, you can also add little bit of yellow to it. We need a slightly brighter one. Okay, so slight yellow after you mix red and black. And so we need burnt sienna, we'll need the yellow, we'll still need the yellow, we still need the green. So I have all these colors already on the palette. So burnt sienna, green, yellow, and we'll need a bit of orange as well. So if you don't have orange, simply mix red and yellow and prepare your orange. If you have an orange, a cadmium orange or a permanent orange will do. So I'm using a cadmium orange over here. Okay. Thank you so much, Varsha ji. So these are the colors that we need here. All we need to do is nothing special about the tree. All we need to do is we need to add the highlights, right, on the tree. So we'll be adding the highlights on the tree right now. You can take a simple small flat brush to add your highlights. So small flat brush to add your highlights. Burnt sienna, cadmium orange, yellow, green, and white. We'll still need the white. Okay. So all these lighter colors will add highlight to it. So we'll first start with the burnt sienna first. So take your burnt sienna. I'm not adding any water here, as you can see. I'm just simply taking it on that small flat brush. It is like a number 3 flat brush. It says 6, but it is exactly similar to my number 3. It depends from company to company. So small flat brush that can fit into this area. And I'm going to add some burnt sienna. As you can see, my burnt sienna is quite bright, so it shows up on the tree. But don't need to completely hide the black. Okay, so the black is supposed to be there, still supposed to be there. If your burnt sienna is not showing up, if your brown is not showing up on the tree, try adding some yellow into it, and then you can add. Don't add too much of yellow, just add a little bit, and that should be fine. Now see, you've added the burnt sienna. You can add it on all the trees. So we have 3 trunks here. We'll create a division over here with our burnt sienna. So the last trunk is the thickest, so you can give more space to it. Inside of the red boat, I used black itself. Just in the center, in the extreme end on the left side, I've given a yellow effect just for the place where we can sit on the boat. But otherwise, it's black completely. Okay. So slowly creating the division, and we'll highlight it more. If you use dry color on this, this will be much better. So don't mix water, otherwise it won't show up on your black. Okay. And we'll still add some on this tree as well. So slight amount of your burnt sienna on this tree as well. And you see, as soon as you add this color, which is slightly lighter as compared to black for sure, it separates your branches there immediately. Not the branches, the trunks. So once you've added the burnt sienna, you will take your greens, this green that you have, sap green or viridian, whichever you have, and try to add little bit of green towards the center in a slanting manner. And I'll just highlight that green for you with white. So you'll take white and slightly over the green itself. You're adding it in a slanting manner. To none of the colors we are adding any water. So it's just dry color going in, and that's why it will give a very rough kind of effect, which is there on the tree. So green and white going in now. Let it mix with the burnt sienna if it is mixing up slightly. You have to give a very random effect. So you don't even need to follow exactly the same spaces where I'm following or anything that I'm adding. You can just go to random spaces adding this. And the last color that we'll take, not the last, but the second last that we'll take will be a little bit of orange. I'm not cleaning my brush because I want a random effect. So slight orange on the tree here. Slight orange, and then don't wash your brush. With that same orange on the brush, you can pick up little yellow and slight yellow highlight as well. It has to be very rough, so you don't need to worry on the finishing part of it. You don't need to really add a lot of finish to this. Very dry effect on the branch, okay? Now, if you think anywhere it's become too much, Like I feel here it's giving a little bit of very block colored kind of effect. So I'm just adding little black from the opposite side to balance that. Just a little touch of black. If you feel it's become more at any place. From the opposite side, you can brush in a little bit of dry black over there. Okay, so a very random touch to the trees. This is like looking very plain at the moment, and the trees are usually not like that. They are up and down, and there is a slight random effect to the trees on the base, and we'll give that when we do this part. As much as I have the urge of finishing this part because we have the same colors that are required here, we'll not do that because otherwise our hand will come in between. So we'll first do the tree now, the leaves of the tree, and then we'll come down on this part. This will be the last part that we'll be doing. So once you're done with this, we'll move ahead on this one. I'm going to change my palette because I have quite a lot of colors now. So you can continue, and I'll just transfer these colors that I need to this one, especially the ones that I'm left with quite a lot. So I'm just transferring those colors here. And I don't think I will need any other from this palette, so I'll keep it aside. I have burnt sienna and orange on my palette at the moment. Okay, so you'll need this for your tree, for the leaves that we are going to do. So burnt sienna, orange, you can take a good amount of orange because you're going to need quite a bit. You will take red, take the brightest of the red that you have in your set. I have a cadmium red. I'll try it. I mean, at least I might have a little. This tube is kind of over, but let's see. So cadmium red, I am taking. It's a nice bright shade of red, as you can see, quite bright. I'm going to take this one, but you can take a Scarlet Lake or Crimson Red if you don't have that one, and use any shade of red that you have in basically. Then take yellow. Yellow is the most important color, which will add highlights to your whole thing. So I'm just trying to search where my yellow is. So cadmium yellow, or if you don't have a cadmium, you can take out a lemon yellow. A cadmium yellow will be better, but if you don't have it, take lemon yellow. And of course, there is darker effect as well, as you can see. So we will still be adding some black to create that depth in our tree. So we'll be making use of black and of course the burnt sienna that we have, right? So black and burnt sienna for the depth effect that we need to give. So these are the colors that you need for your tree at the moment. So I'll quickly repeat the colors: black, burnt sienna, orange, cadmium red or any bright shade of red, and then yellow, cadmium yellow or lemon yellow, whichever you have. Okay. We'll be still making use of the small flat brush itself because our canvas is small. So I'm still continuing with my number 3 flat brush. Now I will be creating the look of the tree. You just need to check towards the end, basically, you need to remember this. Towards the end where the branches are coming off, it should be slightly tapering. If you've seen a tree, you will see that inner part the tree is dense. Outer part the tree is like little, the branches are coming out and it kind of goes into smaller leaves towards the outside, and that's why it's little tapering towards the end. So you have to create that effect. Don't completely fill it up, and towards the end definitely it should look like there are different branches coming out. That's what the effect is supposed to be. We'll start from inside. Your strokes will be slightly random, so you have to go like square kind of strokes again, just the way we did it in the sky. But here it will not be crisscross all the time. It will be more of like dab effect of your brush. Okay, so let me pick up one of the colors and show you what you will be doing. I'll be starting with this red. So on the tip of the brush like this, I'm taking color. And if you see, I'm taking more color because I'm going to provide some texture. So if you're using tube colors, you can add some texture to this part of your painting. And you'll start adding strokes like this. Okay. See, you have to add strokes like this. So pick up thick color, add strokes like this. You can add it in random directions. It's not important to just go in one single direction. Just add it in random directions. And you have to keep adding this way throughout. So I will first add my red, then maybe change some color and add few more highlights here and there. So inner part, you don't need to be that cautious of the shape and all. It can be random. Outer part, I will tell you what to do. So I'll keep guiding you through that. Okay, so you can go really backwards first. I think going backwards will be much better. And then we'll go forward towards the left side. So first we'll add the red, then we'll add more of the colors that we need to add. You can highlight, you can overlap your strokes here and there. So if you see the strokes are really touching each other, you need to hide this part because it looks incomplete if you won't hide. So you need to hide the upper part of this trunk, literally. Okay. I'm creating texture. You can choose to create texture or you can choose not to create texture, depends on how you like it and the kind of colors that you are using. Okay. So I went back with the red, as you can see. I'm going to apply some red towards the top as well. And then with this red now, I'm going to apply some orange for slightly highlighted effect. I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm just going to add some orange. As you can see, my orange is not very separately visible. So I'm going to make the orange slightly lighter. So you need to check if your orange looks darker and it's not visible separately. Just take some yellow and mix some orange together to make your orange lighter. And then once your orange becomes lighter, you can use it. So it depends how your orange looks after you have placed the red. So just first try 1 or 2 strokes and see. Now, let's see. And now that's slightly better, right? So it shows as a highlight. So keep going with this. You can go forward. It's not that you cannot go on empty spaces. Just when you go forward, you just need to make sure that you're leaving some space in between, because of course through the tree also sometimes you're able to see the sky, right? So don't completely fill up all the spaces. That's really important. So slight highlight of orange here and there. And the orange is really coming down on this part if you see. So I'm just going to add more. Now you need to observe here what I'm doing. See, when you come down and the branch is really kind of ending, your strokes must get smaller. So you're just using the corner of your brush towards the end and you're leaving like a tapering branch at the end here. Okay, so that's really important to do. So your strokes become smaller towards the end of the branch. We need to add some depth, for which we'll be using some burnt sienna. The burnt sienna is not very, very dark. I'm adding few strokes of burnt sienna, but I'll add more strokes of black towards the end part of this. So I'm going to take some black now, and towards the end, this part, we are supposed to add the black. The black might look little bold towards the end here, but later on, you will realize that that's adding to the depth. So don't hesitate to add black towards the end of your canvas. The black is definitely adding some depth onto this part. Okay. So continue. This part can be slightly more filled up. And the part of the sky is not supposed to be much visible on this area. So it can be like more dense towards this area of your tree. All right. I'm not taking a very thick black though, because anyways, the other color has texture to it. As I go forward, I will just wash my brush because I don't want the black to go much forward initially. So wash your brush after you've placed the black, okay? And then you continue with your red a little bit again. So now we create some division. आप यहाँ पे देखेंगे तो अभी there is one space, like one place where we have touched the leaves towards the top. Now here I'm going to create a space where there is little bit space in between. So see, I'm not going to go into this space, but I'll just leave it like a random effect of the leaves. And through the leaves, the sky is visible over here for me. Okay, so you have to leave spaces as you come forward. Don't worry about any branch or anything at the moment. All the branches we'll make from the top. There is one branch that is really coming downwards, if you see. So exactly overlapping this part. So just first check how I'm doing that, and then you can do it. I'm going to use a combination of red and orange here. So from time to time, I'll take red and orange and kind of create the effect that you need here. So just check now. Here, I'm just, again, adding smaller strokes as if the branch is kind of coming outwards. So small strokes will be added. Again, then I go down in this part. Again, towards the outside, I'll add little smaller strokes as if the branch is ending there. I'm using a mix of orange and red. So you can just randomly mix it. Mostly on the outer part, because it receives more light, the color is slightly lighter. So you can use more orange towards the outer part of your branch. And you can keep it more red towards the inside. That's what you can do. But it's not that you can't use red outwards. So you can still use some red outwards, okay? And then, of course, inner part should have some depth. So for the inner part, I'm going to use some black here. Kind of let it spread and blend a little bit with that yellow and the orange. Okay, we can still add some black here and there. So there's no problem in doing that because, of course, everywhere the depth is going to be there in the tree. So definitely you can add some black here and there. Keep adding that when you use it so that you don't have to wash your brush again and again. You can go to a lot of areas and add the black here and there. We haven't added yellow separately at the moment, so I'm gonna wash my brush and add yellow this time. Can we as well do black first and then red and orange? If we do that, that is also okay, but then there's a chance that you will just completely end up hiding your black when you add the red and orange from the top. So a better way is you'd still do the red first and orange first, then add little black, and then maybe add some yellow orange from top of the black where you feel like it is looking very dark. So that is the way you can go about it. Okay. But definitely, if you're sure enough that you won't cover up, you can do it that way. So there's no specific way of doing it again. So I'll be using yellow now, cadmium yellow, and let's add some yellow highlights. Yellow is definitely going to add that little pop of color that we really need here. Let's come down on this part here. So when you add the yellow, it will really feel like, it should really feel like basically that it's kind of coming out of the tree, because that's the leaf, those are the leaves that may have turned yellow or maybe receiving more light. There are two possibilities to it, right? So they will be mostly towards the outside, either ready to fall or receiving more light. So that way they should look as if they're coming off the tree. Again, wash your brush and move forward. Now the forward part is the part which will shape up the whole look for your picture. So you should be quite careful on that part for sure. So as you go forward now, I'll just lift this up. Go forward and start to add some red, some burnt sienna as well. I'm adding along with the red here. Thank you. Thank you so much. So right now, red and orange is what I'm, sorry, red and burnt sienna is what I'm using. And then later I will add the other highlights and the other colors. And of course, we'll add any other strokes which are needed, which we think can be added to get the look right. Okay, so keep going and keep adding your red right now. Remember, you have to leave the outer part as small leaves. That's really, really important. Don't forget to do that. And now I'm going to use some orange as well. So again, here I'm using like a little darker effect of orange because this is the outer place where I'm just directly adding the orange. So I'm using a dark orange itself. You need to see how I'm leaving the outer part slightly smaller as compared to the rest, right? So towards the outside when you move, you're gonna add slightly smaller.
Vipra, there's a query. Is it a heavy body paint that you are using?
No, I'm not using a heavy body paint. So as you can see, it just says simple acrylic. Or heavy body paint is even much thicker than this. This is a simple local brand that I'm using from here. And it's a normal acrylic, just like a camel acrylic. Okay. So works really well. It's the colors are nice and thick, even when they are normal, simple acrylics, not the heavy body ones. But definitely a heavy body acrylic will add more of a texture to your picture. If you want to make your normal acrylics slightly more heavy body, you can also mix a medium or a modeling paste, I would say it's a medium, that is used to make your colors thicker. So that can
Also,
be used.
also, Vipra, can you tell us something about the upcoming dance in the sky? Like what kind of colors and how the kind of brushes and knife will be using, how it will be painting?
Brushes will be the normal ones, like we use the simple flat brushes and all. The knife will be number one that we'll be using, that you get a steel knife set in the market. And from that, the number one knife, which is the smallest of all, is the one that we're going to use because of the size, of course. So we'll be using knife number one for that. And probably I can show you the knife in a bit. Uh, so that's the only knife that we're going to use. And we'll be using tube acrylics again. So we'll not be adding any medium or anything to that, but with our normal tube acrylics only, we can really create quite beautiful effect in knife painting. So that's what we're going to use for our next
Okay.
painting.
Also, what do you suggest? I think you were telling us once, like it's very, I mean, it's easy and very interesting to use knife painting, do knife painting. So you were telling,
Absolutely, yeah. I would
yeah.
say I mean, what I feel is that knife is a much easier tool to work with rather than brush, because knife painting in itself, if you see, it doesn't have a lot of perfection to it. It's very beautiful the way it is, like it is imperfect, but it is beautiful. It's like that. So anyone who kind of struggles with the brush or anything, I think knife is a beautiful medium. Even if you don't struggle with the brush, but you still want to try a knife painting, you can definitely do that. It's quite an interesting tool to work with. It creates beautiful effect, and especially for those who love textures, you will definitely enjoy this particular
Yeah,
workshop.
because I think in the past we've done few, and one is scheduled from Monday. So Medha, you
Yeah,
were asking, is there any workshop of knife painting? Yes, we are doing one which is starting from Monday. The links of which I have already shared in the group. That's Dance in the Sky, that we'll be doing with brush and knife. So as Vipra was telling, like I think even the beginners can try their hand on it. And the
for sure.
best
Yeah.
part of it is that you can avail 20% off on individual workshops. So if you register only from what it was for 2 days, so one has already passed. Today is the last day. So by day end, if you register for any upcoming contemporary workshop, you can avail 20% discount on the published price. So don't wait. I will suggest just try at least once and register for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be a great experience, I can assure you.
True. In fact, the past, whatever we have done in the past, the end results were amazing, especially the new melody of night, which I've shown yesterday, and also that one more, the peacock, which we have done. So
Yeah.
everything is there in the classroom. Whoever has already entered the classroom, you can see the final images of the workshops which we have done in the past.
So now, if you think anywhere you've gone slightly darker and you want to add some highlight from the top, see, that's how you can do it. You can hide your black slightly at any place that you want to. So that's the way to do it, instead of going with the black first and then adding it. You can just hide your black from the top, and that kind of gives a more natural feel. I feel so. It kind of shows as if there is like layering on this part, and it gives a beautiful touch to the whole thing. So that's done. Of course, we'll add the branches, we'll let this settle down. And meanwhile, what you can do is you can, whatever colors you are left with, you can try adding them in this part, okay? So we'll work on this area with the colors that we are left over. So on the other palette, I'm left with some green and all. So, and the other colors too. So I will just add like a mix of them in this portion. So just see, I probably need little more green in fact. So I'll just take it out. So whatever colors we are left with at the moment will create a very random effect in this lower portion. Um, so I'll first take green, and with the green, I'm just adding. So you have to go in a slanting direction over here and like a random effect of green. And you can add texture here too. So here, when you add the green like this, and with that green, if you take little bit of black to kind of add the continuity to this tree like this. It will add a continuity to the tree, and you can just add little more longer effect like this. You can mix your burnt sienna. If you're left with any burnt sienna, you can mix that in this portion and take it upwards. You can also add a touch of orange here, just little bit. Kind of fill up this space. Don't hesitate to go up if it is needed. This way. And again, try using the same colors that you have on your palette. So I'm just utilizing a lot of burnt sienna that I have here. Be careful near the boat, of course. Keep this aside. Burnt sienna that I'm using at the moment. Little bit of black down here for a little depth effect. So basically utilize all the colors that you have on your palette right now, the one that are left over. Okay, so black. After you place the black, do clean your brush. You need to clean your brush. And then take the yellow that you're left over with, add some yellow onto this portion, mix it slightly, add some orange over it for a slight highlight. Continue with little bit of orange on the empty portion that you have. Take more yellow, add a bit of highlight. Little more orange. You see, you basically have to do this quite randomly if you're able to see how I'm doing it. It's just a very random touch in this space, to be honest. So whatever colors you're left with, just utilize those colors. Outside, little bit of orange, little burnt sienna towards the outer part. Going downwards on this part a little bit, joining it to the shadow of the boat. We'll add little bit of black, very little, don't add too much. Yellow. And towards the end, you will just use little white if you're left with any, and just add slight white towards the end of it here. So if you're left with any space, you just fill it up with little bit of white on this part.
So Medha wants to ask, like for contemporary, do we use only acrylics?
For contemporary, no, we don't use just acrylics. We've been working with a lot of mediums that we've worked with. We've worked with color pencils. We've worked with oil pastels. We've worked with soft pastels. Recently, we finished a simple pencil shading work, and we do a lot of other mediums. We do watercolors, so it's not just acrylics that we do for sure. We try out different mediums in our regular session. And if you
I think
see how, yeah.
Because I think she wants to understand how do we choose the medium? I mean, based on the reference,
Yeah.
how do we choose the medium?
How do we choose the medium based on the reference? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. How do
I
we?
mean, if she wants to do a particular picture, so how should she know whether she should do it with acrylic or watercolor or oil pastel?
See, just to identify, it is if you see the watercolors are more transparent in look, that tells you and gives you an idea that it's watercolors that you need to do. So more transparent effect on any reference image is watercolors. More of an opaque effect, just like you see in this, is definitely an acrylic or an oil paint. So you can interchange in this part where you see an opaque effect in the picture. You can simply use oil paints or acrylics. Of course, oil pastels would have a definitely different look. They look quite rough and very bright because they kind of, we lay layers with the oil pastel. So that's how you kind of identify what kind of medium you, by the look of it, you are able to identify what medium you should basically use. Yeah.
So we are
Thank you.
getting very beautiful comments.
Yeah.
Actually, looking wonderful.
Last part we are left with, and then I'll have a look at everyone's work. Is the branches that we need to add, which we will add with black. So take your black and a thin round brush, and we'll add some branches here. Add little water to the black to add the branches, okay? So take water, mix it into your black, and try to add some branches. Be careful with your hand. If you think that you will not be able to do the branches right away, you can do it after this dries up, okay?
I think Pooja, you want to know is there any complete course instead of workshop? I would just recommend you to directly contact me on my number. I'm just mentioning it again, and we can have a discussion regarding it.
So basically, if I would do it on a normal, regular basis, I would wait for the paint to dry up. But since this is a shorter workshop, I'm doing it right away. Um, so just again, like I said, if you think it will be difficult to do right away, you can also wait for it to dry up and then you can do this part. It's no need to rush on this part of the picture. So you can add like broken branches, like don't have to continue the branches because of course at some place the branches will be hidden behind the leaves. So you need to add that kind of effect to this, okay? I also love to take out some random branches out of the area of the leaf, and I will probably do that as an extra something there. Let's just add here too, like a big one. Of course, the effect will come out much better if it would dry up. So you can wait for it to dry as well. I'm just adding this so that you all can see the final look of it. So I have to be cautious because the color is wet. I don't want to disturb the color right there. And that's why I'm kind of twisting and turning my canvas so that I can just go in the right place to give some support to my hand there. So just random branches where you feel they should be. You can add it at that part. Like this. And someone said that there are some colorful strokes in the poster. Yes, there are some colorful strokes in the poster that you can add it as a highlight. So if you want to add that, simply if you have this one, a violet shade like a mauve or something, you can take one of the violet shades and add it, or you can also take crimson and white and add it. So I have a little bit of violet here. I'll just quickly add that if you want to see. So little bit of violet there. And along with violet, you can pick up some. So take violet and take some white. So violet and white, and you can create like a mixed up effect here on the palette itself. And just go on a random area, like especially there towards the back side. So you add some violet and white over there. Of course, because the red is wet, I would wait to add this. But since it is today is the last class, I can show you how you will add that. You will simply add it just how you would add any other stroke, right? It has to be added just the same way. So just violet and white on the palette and just add it randomly, just like this. It's towards the front as well, I guess. So some over here can be added as well. This way. I think that's enough though. You can add it where you want to. Just like this. So I think last thing also that we are left with, which we might have missed, or I have missed, and then I suddenly remember now, is some reflection that we can add in a vertical way as well. So last thing that you can do is adding a vertical reflection with white. So take your white on a dry brush. So don't add water to this white that you're using, and add little vertical reflection. So vertical reflections like this, going randomly on this part of the water, that will add an extra look to your water here, okay? Like an extra reflection part, which will add more of the look of water. And maybe some yellow also can be added. So of course, when we do this with knife, it comes out really different and textured. But with brush also, that can be added slightly. And that kind of finishes the painting for us. Okay. So that's it from my end. Nidhi, if we want to just see everyone's work, we can quickly have a look and then we can wrap up this session here. I hope you all enjoyed the session. Let's see. I will see everyone's work without unmuting you so that there's no confusion. And then later on, I will unmute all of you and you all can tell if you've enjoyed the workshop. So Vijay ji is showing since a long time. Vijay Suri ji, I'll just spotlight you. Lovely, very nice, beautiful work. I think आपको थोड़ा सा और towards the end you should take out some smaller petals like मैंने ऐसे अलग अलग निकाले ना छोटे छोटे बाहर की तरफ वैसे आप और निकाल सकते हैं छोटे छोटे. I am not unmuting right now क्योंकि बहुत confusion हो रहा था कल. मैं सबका काम देख रही हूँ अभी. AK, there is someone by the name AK. आप थोड़ा सा दूर move कर लीजिए आपका canvas. हाँ. वेरी ब्यूटीफुल, वेरी वेरी नाइस. आप आगे की तरफ थोड़ा और इसको नीचे ला सकते हैं इन पेटल्स को और थोड़ा नीचे ला सकते हैं पर अदरवाइज ओवरऑल इट हैज कम आउट वेरी ब्यूटीफुल फॉर यू. Very nice. Isha, I will check yours.
Vipra, I'm spotlighting. Just give me
Okay.
feedback. So
Yeah.
this is Isha.
Okay. ईशा, ब्यूटीफुल ईशा, वेरी नाइस वर्क. आपने आगे की तरफ जो ब्लैक ऐड किया है वो थोड़ा सा ज्यादा लग रहा है इधर पे इस वाले पार्ट पे, तो आप उस पे हल्का हल्का कहीं कहीं रेड और ऑरेंज लगा सकते हो. अदरवाइज इट हैज कम आउट वेरी नाइस. वेरी वेल डन ईशा.
This is Vinita.
विनीता जी, लेट्स चेक योर वर्क. थोड़ा सा पास में कीजिए कैनवस को. एब्सोल्युटली नाइस. उसको थोड़ा कंटिन्यूटी ऐड कीजिए अदरवाइज बहुत ब्यूटीफुल है. ऊपर की तरफ आप देखिए पूरा खाली लग रहा है ना, यहाँ पे कहीं कहीं पे जो पेटल्स हैं वो ऊपर टच हो सकती हैं जैसे यहाँ पे, वो उसको एक कंप्लीट लुक देगा आपके पूरे पिक्चर को. सो वेरी ब्यूटीफुल, वेरी वेल डन.
Sangeeta.
Sangeeta ji, very nice. You've got a beautiful texture on the tree and overall the look has come out very, very well. You can extend some of the leaves down here because this area is looking slightly empty right now. So if you see in this part, right towards the right side of your picture, you can get the petals slightly downwards on the right side of your tree trunk. Okay, but beautiful effect. Tanishka, very well done, very nice. Tanishka, you can extend your leaves slightly more downwards. You have a lot of space, you see. If you see the space on top of my bridge, it's beautiful. It's sorry, not beautiful. It's less, right? So it has to be less. So you can extend your, but you've done beautiful job.
Rashmi.